So I thought I was done kind of recording, like video logging for the night, but I kind of thought of a conversation me and my sister just had today, earlier in the day, that I don't know if I feel comfortable enough to post what I'm about to say, but I might because I feel like the conversation I had with my sister earlier is pretty important. So she came to my house today to pick up my nephew. And before basically she left, we're like texting each other, and she's like, hey, basically my morning started off great. I'm like blowing up the fucking toilet. And I was like, oh, yeah, I have coffee this morning. Because I know that can make me boom it up. Just kind of depends. Um, so she said no. And basically this conversation was finished when she got to my place, and we were shooting the shit before she left with my nephew. So this conversation that we had, I felt was important. Um, when me and my sister, like she's 3 years older, about 3 years older. Like when she was a teenager, she went through saying she was fat all the time and like totally was not fat. Like literally the bitch never saw fat in her fucking life, even still thinking she's fat. Like I had been fat, blew up to fucking 165 in like a blink of a fucking eye. And the closest this bitch ever got to fat was being pregnant with my nephew in her belly about to pop. But as a teenager, she would say how fat she was. And I'm not saying it's right of me, it's like a sibling thing. But like I knew that was one thing that I could say that would hurt her, just like she knew the things to say about me that would hurt me. But it's like she went through this shit as a teenager thinking she was fat and everything, and I did not go through that. Like, I did not go through my teenage life, or even, I can't even really say adult life, thinking or obsessing over how I looked. I say I'm more conscious of it now, though I shouldn't be because of how big I had gotten. I should just be grateful, and I'm at that point that I'm good. But she basically was dealing with diarrhea. And I remembered, like, wait a minute. Uh, our mom just said to me about you taking these slim patches. And I'm like thinking, that might have been the same thing mom stopped taking because it gave her the shits. And now you're taking it and randomly getting the shits. And I just said to her, like, I understand, like, wanting to lose weight. I truly do. But it is so easy for somebody to take dieting or whatever kind of new fucking fad of like some fad way of dieting. Like how quick somebody not in the right frame of mind can take in that can like become out of control. So, like, example, I said I never went through worrying about if I was fat when I was a teenager or a young adult. I didn't worry about that kind of shit. I ate what I wanted. I never looked in the mirror at myself like that, like, oh, I got a belly, I'm like getting fat. Because I had been fucking, I got huge out of nowhere, and but I just kind of said to my sister, like, I was the opposite of you, not caring or worrying about my body, and basically I every time I started to lose any sort of weight, and I had been 165 and I'm like 102 or something like that now. Um like anytime I started to lose chunks of weight at a time, it was always because of something stressful. I know some people get stressed and they overeat. Me, I have no fucking appetite when shit's going wrong. And when I ran a uh, Dollar Tree, basically I went from just like dropping 8 pounds out of nowhere to telling myself I was going to start fasting, and this is, I mean, it is 100% truth. The basic reason that I wanted to start doing fasting was because when I was a teenager, if I ate too early in the morning, I would have like shit pains for hours until I was able to go. That very same thing that happened to me in the morning started to happen to me at night if I ate too late. So to kind of avoid both possibly making me miserable, I'm like, I'm sticking with fasting, and I've stuck with it. I've maybe, out of like a 2-year period, said fuck it on like 2 days. Out of those 2 years, because the shit pains I would get made me so miserable that I will do whatever to avoid going through them again. So that's why I stick to fasting. But in that same regard, where taking something simple like fasting for me and never having any sort of eating disorder, body image issues, whatever, I started to basically take the stress I was going through, like not having control in my past job and situations, like stressful situations. I would like basically not eat like I should. And the fucked up logic that I had if things weren't going right, I would almost use not eating or like kind of starving myself to an extent as a way to have control in that aspect of my life where I didn't have it in my work life. And I just said to my sister, like, you having this problem since you were a teenager, like obsessing over your, like if you were fat or not or whatever, I'm like, you taking slim patches to me is just not a good idea, because if I never experienced what you did and I took something out of control, I'm just saying you're more likely to go through that. And I just don't want you to get to the point that you're like, oh, I lost 8 pounds with the slim patch. Now I'm just gonna try to fucking not eat at all. And just crap my fucking brains out. And it's like, that can be so self-destructive. Like with me, I had never experienced any of that, like I said a million times. Never went through that. And bam, that quick, I lost control by giving myself all the control. And it's just like, it can be so dangerous in the wrong hands. I believe that it's good for people to just learn how to eat things in moderation. I'm not saying counting calories, all that shit. I don't even cut out soda. Like, if I was genuinely serious when I was starting to lose weight, that would have went out the door. And I'm like, fuck that. My soda and my fucking cigarettes are my lifeline. I'm not cutting my soda the fuck out. So if I was that hard up to lose weight and I was on the strict fucking diet, soda would not have been in there. And neither would pizza, donuts, all that shit. Like, I cut nothing out that I loved. But when I got immensely stressed, I definitely did some shit I shouldn't have. But I learned from it. I left that job. I don't do that anymore. Because I'm not overlooking everybody in a business that I run. Like, I knew basically too, and feared like getting over a stomach issue, that if I kept going down that road, maybe it'd come the fuck back. And that wasn't worth it to me or the paycheck that I got. My happiness was above all that. So you ever go to do a diet or fasting or anything like that, you need to have the willpower to acknowledge if it's going down a not so good road. With not so good decisions, like, super important, especially if you struggle with the way that you look. Like, self-fucking control. Like, I just feel like it's definitely important to say, because I'd never experienced that, and like, in a blink, I was abusing it. So, yeah. And I've actually heard Theo Von say the same thing with eating. I'm like, so this is not just a me, I can't handle my life situation. Like other people have done it. So, yeah. Like, I learned, thankfully, but I don't know. If someone's that shit scared to gain weight, it could be bad for them. So, just something quick I thought about that I think and feel is important. Hopefully it helps somebody out.